Hi there, I'm Toby, also known as Analog Prophet, and I'm gonna show very basic how the OB-X8 works. Let's start with the default patch. First find where to put it, then hit manual and write, and you have a basic program with a single sawtooth oscillator. You have two buttons with different oscillators, and even when off or combined you have different waveforms, and a knob for the pitch. Let's make a pad, and we can use a pulse waveform for that, and then we modulate it with an LFO. We have the speed and the depth of the modulation. Let's find a good combination between them. For this pad I want to have slower speed and more depth. If the filter is off, it will be silent, so make sure it's on. The basic controller for the filter is the cutoff frequency and the modulation that determines how much of the filter that goes to the envelope generator that shapes the sound with the filter. With a push button you can choose from different kind of filters, and here we're going to use a 24 decibel per octave filter, also known as 4-pole filter. To shape the sound with the filter much, you need to turn up the modulation and down with the cutoff. In a pad sound I use about 50-50, but in a brass sound maybe just the modulation and no cutoff. But let's make a pad. Right now we hear just one oscillator. That's because the filter of oscillator 2 is turned off. Let's turn it on. The pulse wave maybe should be a better choice, but for the sake of this very basic demonstration, let's keep oscillator 2 on sawtooth. We can also detune the oscillators a little bit. Now let's go to page 2. In menu number 14 and 15 we can turn it out to stereo and spread out the voices. In menu number 8 we will find voice to tune. And it gives a little bit instability that makes the sound soar a little bit more. Let's turn down the filter a little bit to get a darker pad. Now, when we have the basic sound, let's turn over to the Lexicon PCM80 and get a reverb for 8 seconds for this kind of ambient pad. Movements in the sound is important for a dynamic synth sound. I use a pedal connected to the filter input at the rear to control the filter while playing. Now time for fine adjustments to get this ambient pad to soar a little bit more. Normally the oscillators are set in unison or in octaves, but they also can be set in intervals like a fifth. Let's try some portamento that glides between the notes. Hit write and a patch number and the preset will be stored. To give it a name, hit write and page 2 and call it for something, for instance glide pad, or something that describes the sound. Use a combination of the two knobs at the display to write the name. Then store it by hit the patch number. Note, don't hit write again because you already done that. If you do that you will lose your patch. Now we can play a little bit and tweak the sound a little bit more. There's another knob at the filter section called resonance. It can give the sound a little bit more character. Adjust the detune a little bit and the speed of the LFO. Some filter adjustments. Now when we have a sound we're satisfied with, it's easy to make some adjustments so the sound fits the music. Always adjust the sound to the music.